Okay, welcome everybody. It's the 2024 annual meeting of the GPOA. We're gonna have our election results in just a moment. And then we're also gonna have the required organizational meeting for the board, followed by a very quick regular board meeting to get some business done that we want to get done in September. First, we'll begin with the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the Republic of the nation,
Okay. So to kick off our annual meeting, we need to appoint inspectors of the election or vote counter. Arvin, our council is here. How many do we need? Three, right?
Wait.
1, 2, 3, there you go. You didn't know you were.
Mind, okay, we do have, I understand we did have a couple of paper ballots.
Oh.
So I don't know, I guess we'll go in the office and do that and then come back.
Sure.
Yeah.
Up to a lot? Or is that- So many people voted electronic though.
I don't know yet.
Oh,
I don't know too.
yeah, I mean, I hope. Or I'm sure the.
While they count those couple of ballots, I just let everybody know that, the majority of folks, did vote electronically. I don't know how many yet. I'll be interested to hear when Brittany opens the email. I asked, Brittany if she could find out vote HOA now. Like, you can do with constant contact, you can track clicks and opens and all that sort of stuff. Apparently, they don't do that. Since from a security perspective, yeah, but, we'll find out how many people.
They probably had that data saved, which is, I'm sure, tracking of like open.
Yeah, they may just share.
Agreement, sure.
Yeah.
But you're not gonna
That's
access
possible.
it until you pay for it or whatever.
Mhm. But they know that we need. Something more happening. In the meantime, why don't we do the 2023 financial statement update on the audit?
So, I received the audit from the accountant, the auditor. Going through some preliminary stuff, making sure that everything is as accurate as it possibly could be. Expecting to have that back to you guys.
Okay. So to board members by Tuesday, right? And then we'll have a chance to review and pick through any questions we may have before I guess we'll vote on it at the next regular meeting, and so we'll release it then. All right, folks, again, we're just waiting the counting of the few paper ballots, and then Brittany has her laptop with her, which has the result of the electronic vote. Anything we can do about the sound, Michael? Sound quality is reportedly poor.
It's less about it poor. It's so for you, Pat, you're right next to the mic. It's solid, but when you are further away from the mic, it comes back fragmented and crackled. So I think that's what's being referenced. So
So I'll do my best to speak up. So, wow, they're back that quickly. All right.
say it with cool.
My question is wrong. I'll get up the answer.
Okay. Okay.
Got the results here. So the results are all three candidates, one for
Shocking.
111.5 votes, on 205.5, goal 201,
Can you repeat that? I'm sorry.
211.50, 205.50 for Lana, 201.50 for Joe.
We'll put that in the chat in case that was a little hard for folks to hear online. Do we know how many of those, Brittany, were electronic versus paper?
There was only two paper.
Oh, wow. And were those half votes, full votes? trying to get a sense of the numbers here. We had over 200 people vote electronically. Is that right?
235.75 is how many votes we received.
That's great. Again, higher than we've had in, things are pretty close to it. So, that's good. All right, moving on. Okay, let's move on to our organizational meetings. So first up is election of our officers. We have a president, at least one vice president, secretary under our bylaws. So I'll open up the floors for nominations for the president position.
I nominate Patrick.
That's second.
Humbly accept that. Are there any other nominations? Hearing none, everyone in favor of that? Aye. Any opposed? Any recusals? Any abstentions? All right, thank you. All that passes. For a vice president position, currently we have two. We have Earl and Alana, and we'll open it up for nomination.
I nominate Alana. Second.
Okay, okay, so let's vote on that for one, okay? Are there other nominations for the first vice president position? And by first vice president, I don't mean any second or anything. Okay, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any recusals, any abstentions? Hearing none, congratulations, Alana. And I would make a nomination of Earl for second additional vice president. Is there a second?
A second.
Great. Any other nominations for vice president?
Second, I'm sorry.
I did.
Chris. All right, hearing none, all in favor for Earl as an additional vice president? Aye. Any opposed? Any recusals? Any abstentions? Hearing none, congrats, Earl. Next up is our treasurer position.
I nominate Dan since he's has a good handle on it.
Okay, so we have a nomination for Joel and a nomination for Dan. Is there a second for Joel?
A second. Well,
Is there a second for Dan? Okay, we have a nomination and a second for Joel, and for Dan, are there any other nominations? Okay, so all in favor for Joel? Aye. What do we do? Roll call, I guess.
Patrick.
Yes,
Yes, to what?
sorry, Joel.
Alana.
Joel.
So, sorry, 21. Alana's nomination was first. We're voting on Joel's nomination first. We're not voting on,
Correct.
not an either or.
Oh, it's a yes or no?
Okay. I was
Okay.
confused. Yeah, I was confused too.
So we're doing Joel.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going back to you for yes?
Correct.
Okay.
We're voting now between two people.
Right,
Yes, opposed, you're for.
It's who you for then, or who you for?
They both were nominated.
Voted. You vote on the nominations and vote on the motions in the order in which they're received.
yeah, we'll do that. Okay, so first for Joel. And I'm a yes.
Yes, Alana,
Yes.
thank you. Earl,
Yes.
Dan,
No.
Tom is absent. Tom, are you here? Okay, I vote yes. Plus,
No.
Joel,
Yes.
Beverly,
Yes.
Alex,
No.
Zach,
Yes.
motion passes.
Okay. Do we? Procedurally, we don't have to do the other bill. I don't think we do. Okay. Congrats, Joel. All right. Secretary. Are there any nominations for the position of secretary?
Yes.
Is there a second? Are there any other nominations for the position of secretary? Hearing none, all in favor for Chris? Any opposed? Any recusals? Any abstentions?
Everything.
You recuse? Any abstentions? Hearing none, the motion passes. Chris, all right, the 2024-2025 officer slate is set. Now we need to do our schedule of regular meetings. Currently meeting the third Sunday of every month. Which I would propose we continue, as well as board members, that we hold the first Tuesday. the first Tuesday of every month for potential workshops. Basically just keeping our same schedule.
Yeah.
Are we good with that? Okay. Why don't we take a formal vote on that, I suppose? So all in favor of keeping the schedule for the 2024-2025 term, regular meetings and workshops the same as it is, meaning we'll meet on every third Sunday. Regular meeting. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any recusals? Any abstentions? Hearing none, the motion passed. All right. We need to designate checks. Michael, who do we have currently?
You have you, Chris, Alana, Earl, Dan, Alex.
I motion that we continue the existing check signers and add Joel as check signer.
Second that. Who's less a second?
Thank you.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any recusals? Any abstentions? Hearing none, that. Then we need to set the transfer fee amount. Yeah, I know you guys are working at the numbers. Again, Chris?
So I'll make the motion. Under the bylaw, we are allowed to increase the transfer fee, according to the consumer price index for all urban consumers. Past 12 months, the consumer price index increase of the past 12 months has been 2.9%. Our current transfer fee is, I believe, $1,711. Yes, 1711 increased by 2.9%. Rounded up to the nearest dollar is $1,761. I motion that we set the transfer fee at $1,761.
Second.
Can you
Okay.
just do it, sorry, for the rest, the lots and the paper lots?
We're doing, that's later. Oh, for all.
The transfer.
I didn't calculate it before. So I motion that we increase the fee by 2%.
And round it up to the next.
Right, then, the next time, yeah.
All right, so that's been seconded. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any recusals? Any abstentions? Hearing none, that motion. Now we're gonna finish our organizational meeting with setting our committees for 2024-2025. I think the committee structure that we've had the last year working well. I see no reason to change any of those committees. But Chris, I think you may want to add, you're going to propose something.
Or we do the existing committees first. We need to make a total.
Let's just as one little package, I guess.
So, I motion to continue the existing committees with existing board members. And of course, if other board members want to switch or add committees to their workload, we can address that later. But for now, for today, just for continuity of operation, I motion to continue the 2024 committees with the existing membership, and to add a board-only operating budget committee to support Joel in developing the operating budget. And that, again, will be a board-only committee, but open to all board members who wish to join in developing the operating budget, looking towards our second annual meeting.
All right. Good. Makes sense, everybody? Makes sense, what we're talking about? So that lakes, pool oversight, events and welcoming, bylaws, and strategic planning and finance.
HR.
And then HR, and then the board only. Oh, we have 8 committees. If I will.
That's it.
Oh, good. All right, all in favor of that? Aye. Any opposed, any recusals, any abstentions? Hearing none, that passes. All right, Marcy, I see your hand up, but we'll wait for member questions until we get through the regular meeting piece. Okay? All right, so that closes the organizational meeting, and we can call to order the regular meeting. Yep.
And the check signer, just because we'll need the resolution for the bank,
Mhm.
if we can do that quick, you need to also, self as a official depositor, for it.
And Marvin is.
And, right, Marvin, you have to do your attorney as well.
Looking at me.
Motion to approve Barclays Council.
Do we need to
I
use the
see.
same check
Oh.
signers?
Second.
With that new account, we can use the same check signers for that new.
Well, thank God we didn't do that, because now everybody, Tuesday, the first couple of days of this week, I'll get all the accounts switched around. Everybody's gonna have to go to the bank, sign their stuff, and move forward.
Okay, Chris made a motion to formally, reappoint Marvin as the board's counsel.
I'll second it.
Seconded. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed, any recusals, any abstentions? Hearing none, that passed.
I motion to make Michael.
Second.
Say,
Hold on.
Brittany will.
And Brittany?
Sure. I motion to make Michael and Brittany our official.
Second. All in favor of that? Aye. Anyone opposed? Recusals, any abstentions? Hearing none, that passed. All right, now we're gonna close the the organizational meeting and start our regular meeting. And ask, the secretary to call the roll, please.
Patrick.
Here.
Alana,
Here.
Earl,
Here,
Dan. Leslie,
Here,
Joel. Here. Beverly,
here.
Alex.
Here.
Here.
All right, first item is approval of the July 21st, 2024 minutes of our regular meeting. Those are tab one of your board books, board members. Anybody have any questions? If not, can I get a motion to approve? Motion to approve. Joel, on the move. Can I get a second? Second,
Who
Paul.
I'm sorry.
Joel. All those in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Any recusals? Any abstentions? Hearing none, the minutes are approved. On to Michael. Minutes.
Our crew's been out working diligently to get, address some of the landscaping issues, around the entertainium. As well as they got the pool all finished up around that area. We've been having issues with, shade at the pickleball court. We did pick up some shade, material for the corner of the court. It didn't quite work out. We had a community member that jumped in and came up with an idea that he had just installed that seems to be working. I'm told that all the pickleball players are smiling. That's good for us in the office. And just a little bit on the pool, probably all you guys know, the board knows, we did have a, incident over, in August or July that, with the drowning, possible drowning. Everything on our end, worked and communications, our 2 interviews with the Department of Health came out fine. There was no violations on our side of it. It's just we gotta keep an eye on our kids. And actually our neighbors' kids as well. It's hard to tell when somebody's drowning, as you see in the movies, somebody flails their arms up and down. That usually does not happen in real life. Everything worked out, thank God, there was no issues. Our local first responders were great. We just have to keep an eye on it.
This happened at the pool?
Yes,
And most importantly, the child appears to be okay. That's
yes.
number one.
Just kind of a heads up for next year's budget. We are trying to work things a little bit different. May have to increase some levels for staff over there, just on the weekends to have either. In our talks with the Department of Health, we could possibly do a hybrid type of school supervision. So we're going to look into that a little bit further. So we may have some increases, obviously, in payroll and stuff over there. We're trying to look at security, the pool attendants, our staff, our normal staff, and just trying to work things together, which makes the most sense. But I just wanted you guys out there, that we are going to be working.
Can I?
Okay, sorry, go ahead.
It's okay. I just wanted to ask if maybe we could make it a requirement of any of the staff next year that it's BLS training is a requirement pre-season. So before they step into the role, that they have to get BLS certified.
Yes, we can. Yes, we can look and try that. I don't know how well that's gonna, we do,
Either that or have.
at least CPR. Most of them do have CPR training, and AED training, so, yes, we can look into, I think that may limit us a little bit, but we can certainly bring it to the table.
I agree. I know it's a difficult ask and it's a big ask. I just think that the outcome could have been extremely different in this case, and we're really. And I don't mean that people didn't.
Right, oh,
That's the
absolutely.
ability, and that I'm really glad, but 3 minutes under the water or 4 minutes under the water, you might have been looking at a very different. Know the details of everything, but I'm just saying. Sometimes we get, like warnings in life, and this might be one.
I was fully endorse that. I think it's worth budgeting for, and that training, those trainings are expensive and they're worth the community supporting. And so I think when we go into budget season doing that, just one clarification, have the attendants all been, the staff been trained on the AEDs? That didn't take place.
When,
I believe one staff member is trained on the
And
AEDs.
then includes the attendants.
Yes.
And then, I was wondering just for the benefit of the community, if you could, it sounds like the system works toward a good outcome, but
Negative.
not, can you, just for the benefit of the community, can you review what the attendants are trained to do in the event of emergency? What is the SOP when there's an emergency? What is the attendance?
their job is to, start the process. The institution of the call to 911 was done by, people in the pool. Their procedure is to, find out what's going on. And each one runs different. We really don't have a set procedure right now. But that's, as I discussed in the beginning, that's all something we're gonna put together and get worked. I did meet with, Brittany and I met with Reveille and we went over things and, we also talked about different briefings and things like that. Stuff that when something happens after and before, so we can maybe work things out. My big thing is to let you guys know and the community know that that's something we're seriously looking at, and that is one of the most important pieces in the community, so that is gonna affect the budget.
I think having a standard level of training would allow more effective implementation of a standard operating procedure, right? If you can rely on all of the attendants having the same level of
Yes,
training. then-
exactly. Exactly. And we're, yes. good. And, on an operations standpoint, I know it's getting towards the end of August, everybody's going to be asking how long we're gonna keep the pool open. We generally try to do a couple of weeks in September. But that's predicted by if the weather starts getting cooler, we get, cooler nights and it's costing us getting expensive to heat. We'll make the call with Patrick and when we're going to pull the trigger and so.
You don't hear about global warming? Hear about global warming?
I guess, and the community should be reminded of global warming, as we start work in March instead of April now, so.
Sure thing.
And you're gonna get more beautiful pool days like today, I'm sure.
Ask that maybe these be things that are kept on like the standing agenda for the school committee as well for next year, so that the topic is reviewed at every single committee meeting that you have.
Okay. We can do that.
And if you need help with anything, I'm more than willing to offer any kind of help or support.
That's it. Any other questions for Michael?
I know we got a letter from somebody about the swim lanes and stuff. So I was wondering if we can just keep one swim lane in there and just, I think that would work. And, you know, because if people want to swim, if two people can swim and be uninterrupted, and then we tell people, we tell the pool attendants that this is only going to be used for laps, and that's it. Yeah. There'll be plenty of room there for everybody. It's a great idea, opening up, you know, reducing the lanes. So I think a lot of people are happy with that. But I think, you know, this way, if someone comes at 12 o'clock, they can swim. Okay, thanks.
An adjustment will be made. All right, anything else for Michael? Just circling back to committees for 1 second. Now we voted earlier on the composition of what committees we're gonna have. I just thought it would be worth clarifying that, first of all, we're not having any committee reports during our regular meeting now, just because we want to zoom through. But I'm assuming we're gonna keep the same chairs. So those are the board members who are chairs of the committee. If you want to switch out, let me know. Otherwise, we assume you want to continue to serve. And then for the community members,
I would share the HR committee.
if you want to chair the HR committee, all right, we can work that out. You like to stay? Okay, well, we can talk, let's talk about it and work it out. But, in terms of the community members who would make up the committees, obviously, except for HR, and what will be the new operating budget support committee. If you're on a committee now, say, for example, Lakes or Pool, we'll assume you want to continue on that committee and you'll still be on the roster. But for those who want to join a committee in the next year, we'll send out the Google form or whatever we've done in the past to circulate to get members added, and then you just have to show up at a meeting and hopefully participate, volunteer, which is fun. Okay. So that's the note I wanted to make on the committees. We're gonna move on to item E on our agenda, which is the rules and regulations. I'm just gonna soft tee this up, then ask Michael for any clarifications. We've had a growing problem with what many call paper lots. And so by our bylaws, that's undeveloped lot member. There are lots in the community that are just undevelopable right now because there's no road, there's no sewer connection, what have you. Those lots tend to trade obviously at a much lower value. And what we've found is that folks are buying those lots, then electing, as you can do currently under our bylaws, to join as a full member, pay full member dues, and then have access to the pool, the entertainment, the courts, etc. Which sounds great and lovely, except that we are now, as I think anybody who's been around the pool in the last few weeks can see, really stressing the capacity of our amenities and our facilities. And this, from management who's monitoring and tracking these things, this paper lot avenue seems to be one that's really causing some additional stress on those facilities. So we also have homes being built in the community, that's true. But it's really the paper lots. We've seen a real sharp uptick in the number of paper lot owners who are electing to become full members to take advantage of the amenities, and they don't even, they don't live here, which is, it's not a criticism of them. They're doing what's allowed under the bylaws, but it's creating, I think, both a capacity issue and a real safety concern. So for that reason, we've looked at adding a surcharge for undeveloped lot owner members who, when they elect to become, pay the full member dues and take advantage of the amenities, that there be a surcharge to do so. to be clear, this would apply to those who buy paper lots going forward. If you were currently a paper lot owner, you'd be grandfathered. So it's really for, those who, buy them in the future when they trade hands. And the amount that I would propose and that I've sort of put out to the board members in advance in a preview of this is $10,000 for that surcharge. I think we need to make sure that, it's not, not a de minimis amount, but not totally prohibitive either. And the reality is that money will be directed toward our transfer and construction, fund, where it'll be lockbox for any future capital projects. Because again, the purpose of this is to help defray, the safety and the additional costs, to our amenities. And so we know that we're gonna have to do something from a capital perspective in the future to expand our amenities. And so this is one way to raise money to do that. That's the rationale behind it, and that's the proposal. And I'll ask Michael if you have anything to add, and then see if there are board members with questions.
Once again, it's the paper lots that are in the undeveloped areas of the community. In our email chain, there was a few questions about the lots. It's just the paper lots. It's the Devon streets, the Halifax lanes. These are all streets that we know in the office, but really you guys have no idea where we're even talking about. It does not affect any of the lots in the community. And it's affecting all of our, it's affecting us on the lake, obviously at the pool, and as well as our state-of-the-art gym facility. We're seeing the heavy load there as well.
Says who? Says who?
Says who?
Yeah,
Says me.
how many?
How
How many of these paper lots have made this transition that we're talking about that we're now imposing? So how many of these lots have been bought into the association and are now amenity users?
We currently this year, we've had so far, 4. We have, 2 or 3 in the hopper that are working, to get the amenities.
Michael, can I ask another question? How many paper lots are there with the potential of buying?
We have about 350
Okay, all right, thank you.
paper lots right now.
It's preventative.
And, we also have, there are families buying lots as well. Families getting together, we have one that they bought together, it's in a corp, they're, so and the other thing is how many people are allowed to use? Normally in a setting, in a normal home, it's your immediate family is what we go by. That's the same effect with the paper lots. So some of these lots have, 6, 7 members using 6 or 7 people using.
I have sent a question on an email. If we were going to go forward with this $10,000 surcharge on these people that are already, and it's still speaking about the paper lots. These homeowners are using our facilities. My question was, are we going to change the bylaws then to give them a full vote instead of a quarter vote?
They already have a full,
They do,
they do.
but that's not reflected in the bylaw.
Undeveloped lot owners have no vote unless and until they elect.
Until they elect.
Once they pay full member dues, then they vote.
For the same issue,
In the bylaw, they full dues.
same issue.
As a paper lot, you don't. They do one stage,
The quarter
They
votes for
they don't pay dues either.
lot owner members, meaning those that are defined as buildable lots. We're not talking about that class, we're talking about undeveloped, unbuildable paper lots, I guess, colloquial term we keep using.
So we just,
So, yeah. So I think that we have about 350. you have about, let's say, 150 people buy these lots, you're gonna need another pool. So I think I'd rather go 10,000 to 15,000. And also make a proposal change that it applies to all paper lots. Because the reason why you're doing this is because we're worried about traffic. So, and the original paper lot peoples have not contributed any money to this at all. All of a sudden they flip a switch and they're in. So that's my two changes to consider. Okay.
So can I jump in? This is Daryl. So I also reached out to Patrick. I think it's something we need to do. I'm more concerned about the amount. I would at least ask members to consider a percentage because there is no standardization of the cost of a paper lot. So if we're saying, hey, we want someone to pay $10,000, and what if they bought a lot for $20,000? I don't know if that is aligned and makes sense. Now, if there's a percentage that needs to be significant enough that I won't necessarily say we should use it to discourage, but it just affirms that we are considerate of our fellow homeowners and their families that utilize the amenities. I think that is something we need to consider. I think the amount is fair. It should be substantive. I just don't know if we can do a flat amount considering that the cost of these paper lots vary and the size of these paper lots vary. And so we might actually be hurting ourselves by saying 7,500, 10,000 or 15, or we may put a homeowner and or someone who purchased something in our neighborhood in an uncomfortable situation. So we need to do it. I just don't know if a flat fee is the most appropriate way of accomplishing what we're trying to accomplish.
No, that won't work.
Okay.
Because in a couple of weeks, you can go to the tax auction and pick one up for $200.
Yeah, I know. Okay, all right.
I don't think that,
But also the size of the lot and it doesn't make.
they're all the same size.
These are all sections that never got developed, so they're all plotted out in subdivision maps, they're all basically the same third of an acre lot. That is in the developed portion of it, so they really are the same lots. There's never been developed, there's no roads, no utilities. So they have almost no value. Purpose is to limit going forward, overtaxing our facilities. Like, you want to have an initiation fee, you're not stopping people. But it has to be sizable to stop people from just basically getting membership at Emerald Green just by paying your regular dues. That's the intent.
I have a question about how you came up with the $10,000. So have you taken the amount of the total amount of paper lots there are that are available for purchase and considered that if they were all bought, what size of additional facilities we would need, and then maybe divide that number so that we actually have the amount that we would need? And then that really gives a grounds and a basis for what you're asking for.
Yeah.
As if you're saying that it's for that.
That's why John wants to do it.
That's like that's, and so that's so,
Yeah.
I think that's very fair. I mean, it's the purpose of for the community and to make sure that we have the available amenities, if these lots should all be bought. And the monies are gonna go into the lot and be used for that purpose, then.
Yeah.
I don't
What
know.
happens if you have a non-buildable paper?
Do it. Only if you convert.
Get a tax bill. I think I swore I owe $50-$60 a year, and you pay a portion for the sewer capital charge.
So
They're
if you
taxed
sold,
$60,000, $70,000,
if you
$60,000.
sold your lot to somebody and that person said, oh, I wanna use our amenities.
Well, where we also see, guys, is, we have lots that are buildable lots and homes that are in the community that have no deed restrictions attached. They could be your neighbor across the street, there's these homes that, don't have deed restrictions attached to them. They're in the middle of our community. We had one done 2 years ago. and we had one just done last week. If you don't have any of those restrictions, you're a home, whether it wasn't recorded when the deed was originally filed in the subdivision, that's how it. But these lots don't use any of our amenities, they aren't able to do so. Yes, they're in the middle of our communities, spotted here and there, but they have to, if you're one of those people in the community and you want to join, it's a $7,500 charge for you to come into the association, and that $7,500 charge goes into the capital reserve. But you're able to use the amenities and do that. We've had several homeowners that have done that. However, it is also cheaper to buy a paper lot for a couple $100. Just start paying the dues on the paper lot. Have no control over your home. You can park up in your driveway or do whatever you want. But that home now is, affected, I have no control over whatever you do there because it's not used.
They're just coming in for amenities.
They're just, you're in the community, you don't have to follow the rules, but you can still use the facility.
Do we know how many lots those we have?
We don't know off the top of my head, there's probably about, we're probably left with about 25. And what's happening now is, it was okay for the previous owners, because they really didn't use the facilities. But they're selling the people that are selling are really using us to sell, because we have these amenities, they find out about what they have to do, and then they talk to people and they figure out, hey, it's cheaper to buy paper to do this, and.
Well, is it cheaper for us, excuse me, Ben, to buy these lots?
No, the homes,
No,
So we could put them
there's already homes,
this homes.
on the.
there's already.
It's not big lots.
No, he's
No,
doing something
well,
over
they
there.
have paper lots now because they're using the facilities, but
No,
no.
I understand, right, what I'm saying is how many paper lots that we have that they're renting.
That, I think you said earlier was potentially about 300, right? So if you take that times the 15,000, getting back to your question.
Hello?
Times the $15,000, 4.5 million, that's what we would raise
Two
in
poles.
a world where they all changed hands and all joined up. Which would get us where we need to be, but we know that not all 300 of those are gonna elect,
I'd say
Pay that.
150. I'd say 150 to it.
but it's significant enough.
What,
Yeah, but I think, well, I might say, I can just, in addition to people who just are buying a paper lot on a country club to go to for $1,700 a year, that there are several people who have houses here who don't have to pay dues, and they can just buy a lot and use it without joining, and we did the 7,500, 50 years ago, we get people. So that's just another reason to set a fee. You can come up with a number, but realistically, I don't think, we're not doing it to raise money, we're doing it basically to have people pay a fair amount if they want to join and don't really.
And let me just say, quickly, and this is addressing a couple of comments in chat. First of all, I don't think there's a way we restrict under our bylaws or maybe the Constitution, the ability to buy and sell lots. I mean, that's just the free market. I'm not sure we can tell people they can't sell them anymore. But this doesn't preclude us from, and we will revisit the issue through our bylaws. And all we're proposing right now is a board rulemaking, and just, I put this in the email to the board members, but for the benefit of the community, under the bylaws, of course, the board has the power, and this is the wording, to establish and thereafter revise, amend, and or discontinue rules relating to the safe use of the corporation's facilities, including but not limited to lakes, pool, tennis courts, playgrounds, and entertaining, which must be adhered to by each member. So that's the reason that, or the way that we're doing it or proposing to do it today, but it won't preclude us from visiting this issue as additionally as a bylaw change. It's just, of course, the bylaws require that we then send it out, first the board approve it, then it'll be sent out to the membership, and that there be a supermajority that approve it. I think we can get there. I think this is an issue that has enough consensus around it to do that, but in the meantime, we think that this makes sense. So I want to try to, unless there are other burning questions, try to bring this to, a motion, and I'm fine with the 15,000.
Okay, and for all lots, just.
I'm not where are we folks on consensus wise, whether it should grandfather for existing paper lot
I would
owners?
keep it grandfathered for the existing people.
May I suggest that you make a narrow motion for 15,000, and then if you want to make an amendment to try and do the all lots versus grandfathering, we'll see how that floats.
Okay.
But make a motion.
So I make a motion that we charge $15,000 for people who buy paper lots and want to use our amenities. Okay, I'll just leave it like that. Okay,
It doesn't impact the grandfather.
no, not, okay, I'm just doing 15,000, going past level, just bringing it up to 15,000, that's the first motion. on the
Okay,
floor.
is there a
That
second?
that proposal as is except for the raising the amount.
The 15,000, correct.
Okay, and is there a second? Great, all in favor of that amendment? Aye.
Hold it, I'm going
You
out.
have a lot, and you want your grandfather, that means if you sell it, do you still keep your grandfather's?
So let me just explain that for you. For when a paper lot sells, the new owners would have to request. Right now, you can't, with a paper lot, you can't jump in and out of this association. You can't decide you want to use it 3 years. My kid's going to college now. I don't want to use it until they're done and have grandchildren and jump back in 5 years later. Once you do it, you're in it until you sell it. We just had somebody that finally sold after 3 years. They had to pay the amount and they've been in Florida for 5. So, but they still continued.
Okay, so we're in the middle of a vote. Hang on, we're in the middle of a vote, so a roll call has been requested on the amendment question.
So rule, it's not a, make it.
We're
On the main, request a roll call on the main.
on the main motion. Okay,
15,
so the
15,000.
amendment passed, right?
We didn't,
So
even-
There's no amendment on the floor.
I don't even know how we're motioning for a change to 15,000. We didn't even motion to bring this to vote in the first place.
So Joel motioned to approve Pat's proposal at $15,000.
Okay, gotcha.
I seconded that motion. That is the motion on the floor. After this, if we wish to address the grandfathering issue, we can address that as a fully separate motion. But the only motion on the floor right now is for Pat's proposal at the $15,000 price point.
Correct.
Does that make sense to folks?
Yes,
And I'm requesting a
Going
roll call.
forward,
yes,
Yes, so right, the motion would grandfather
Yes.
existing lot owners,
correct.
and I request a roll call on that.
Okay,
Okay. Got it.
call the roll, yes.
Alana,
Yes.
Earl,
Earl,
yes,
come back.
I abstain.
Joel,
Yes,
yes. Leslie,
I said no.
Dan,
No, until this board does more restructuring and figuring this out.
Everly,
That's good.
Yeah.
yes. Zach,
yes.
motion passes. Is there a second motion?
I propose a second motion that this apply to all paper lot owners. Paper lot owner wants to start using our amenities now, he would be subject, or they would be subject to that same $15,000 fee. My motion. Do I have a second on the motion?
What was that motion?
Yeah, motion is, my motion. My motion is to ungrandfather. So if you have you have a person that owns a paper lot now. Call on Monday morning, they call Michael and say, I would like to start using your amenities and I'll start paying full dues. When that person makes that call, Michael will respond, say, that's great, but there's a $15,000 fee that you have to now pay
They,
to do that.
I think the people that already
Yes,
have the
once
amenity
you're-
for grandfathered, it's not.
once you're in, you're in. That's, so you have,
No, but you're not, you didn't pay anything.
He's saying for current paper lot owners.
Right, current paper lot owners, the guy, this is
Not
the
the
same.
transfer of sale.
Not the transfer set. That's what I'm saying. If someone calls Monday morning, Michael, hello, I own paper lot 523. And I'd like to start paying full dues. Please send me a pass so I can use all your facilities.
Right, so a new purchase,
Right, so, no, not a new purchase, an
Right, yeah.
existing owner.
existing owner.
I'm saying you would say, fine, that's great, we'll bill you for your dues, but by the way, there's a $15,000 surcharge. That you have to wind up now paying.
And I believe that's the way you guys just voted.
No,
No.
really did,
There's a new
Change.
purchase.
right, if I sell
I'm
my
not
lot,
buying something tomorrow.
Right.
Right after this, someone bought something this afternoon. They can't use the facilities unless they pay $15,000.
correct,
I think what Joel is saying, if you already own a paper lot and you haven't been paying the full
Correct.
dues, you want to now start.
Okay, I'm good,
that's it, that's my motion, is there a second for that motion?
But does the deed say any,
And this is a lot. So
Yeah.
first of all, how many people currently own paper lots now?
That are not dues paid.
Right.
How many do?
Well, do it the other way. You got, how many people pay? I pay dues, so I've done
we
it
have
for
about
20 years.
13 that have opted. And that's just.
Those are the people that need to be grandfathered.
Agreed,
Agreed.
Those 13 are already members, so they're already members.
it's not an issue,
This doesn't apply.
correct,
We're talking about those who currently hold paper lots but have not elected to become full members
correct,
and still own it as of today, Sunday, August 18th, 2020.
correct,
And so the motion is whether to apply that 15,000 surcharge to those owners
correct,
versus what we just passed, which is that it only applies to those who buy a lot August 19th, 2024 going forward.
correct. Do I have a second on that?
Know how many, but
I don't agree.
350 lots and there's only 13 using it, then it would be like 300.
By Joel's rule, what he's saying is if he has a paper lot. And then opts into the association, just pays the dues, he can then sell the property because he's already grandfathered in.
No,
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 so we're
not
just,
saying
sorry,
that.
let me.
Not saying that at all.
Let me finish. So if,
I'm not saying that.
what Joel's saying is, so under the motion we just approved. Under the motion we just approved, if I currently own a paper lot. And I want to pay and I want to use the amenities starting tomorrow. That surcharge would not apply to me because I already own a paper lot.
I'm saying it should,
If, under the motion we just approved, if I didn't own a paper lot, and I bought one tomorrow, then I would pay the surcharge. Joel is saying, for people who own paper lots today, already, they're existing owners of paper lots. That we would apply the same surcharge we just approved for future purchases to current paper lot owners. We're still waiting for.
I'm waiting for a second, do I have a second?
Wait, we're waiting for a second.
I just have a question, please, before
Sure.
we do this.
Sure,
Some of these lots are not, we don't have any restrictions.
no, we're not talking about those, we're talking about paper lots, only paper
Some of
lots.
those perfect lots are for monthly.
No,
No, they're
That's-
lots that are good lots in the community.
Right,
But they're not part of.
Yes.
that's a whole,
Yes.
only leave that alone,
Yes.
leave that alone, that's a discussion for a whole other.
Forget that.
All I'm trying to do is just unify, because the reason we're doing this is overcrowding, so it really doesn't make a difference, it's when you come in. That's it,
All right,
so,
just to reclaim this, is there a second
Alana second,
there? I say we do a roll call.
you got it.
I am confused.
No, if you're confused, that's a problem, so. The clerk-
15,000 is just going to, what they're proposing to vote on now is an opt-in cost.
Yeah.
And
Added to.
Yeah,
it doesn't really matter on your lots.
right,
Okay.
It's what it should have been initially, but we got crazy.
right,
Yeah, I'm gonna vote no on it just because I think we can address it at the bylaws level
Whatever you
in
wanna
the
do.
future. If I'm a paper lot owner right now, I'm like, wait a minute, I didn't know that was coming. I'm not sure it's a bit of a blind side in my view, but that's just my
Could be an issue.
point of view.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna vote no, but I'm requesting a roll call, so. Oh, sure. before we vote.
Is this a? That's what I want.
It could be, someone could claim, well, I've owned the paper lot 10 years, people have been in the past allowed to pay the full dues and use it now. Grandkids, I want to bought it, if I knew paid 15,000, as opposed to new people, just did, they can't claim that, so they may claim that you're interfering with their property rights.
I would say,
It's about it, but it raises some.
I would say, look, it's. That's the legal analysis in the rulemaking context. If we did this by a bylaws change, a full bylaws change, approved by all the membership, that to me feels like less of a, there's more buy-in.
You'll
have the same issue, but I think you'll have it the other way, because what happens? If I come over and I'm a new guy, and I bought, let's have, it's Zach has a paper lot, and he calls and he just walks in. I'm a new guy and I find out, hey, I want to use this. Now I'm gonna say you're discriminating against me because I'm a new guy. That's what I'm saying. I
No,
see that-
laws change. No, that's not the case. That's not the case. There's no. If you're new, it's no different than taxes go up. When I bought my house, taxes was X. Well, you come in, taxes are Y. You can't complain. The dynamics have changed, the community's changed, and that there's been a decision that's reflected as much. Correction, you can change, but it has no merit.
Okay.
Let's vote. Let's vote. So do your roll call vote. We have a no from
I'm a
Pat.
no pending.
Oh,
Alana,
How can you abstain if you seconded it?
It's okay. She can vote.
Yeah.
Good call.
All right, moving on. Earl.
No, I'm not comfortable with that.
Joel,
yes.
I vote no. Leslie?
No, because if I die
That's it.
tomorrow and I give
Just
it to
no.
my kids,
Just
No,
no.
no, that's it. We don't need more.
Ken, how do you vote?
No.
You, Beverly?
No.
Alex?
No.
Zach?
No.
Okay, the amendment doesn't pass. We have policy in place for the moment, and I will, and the bylaws committee will take this issue up.
To answer your question, 397. 397.
Okay. All right, we're moving on to item F, which is, we're gonna move on to item F, which is, review of our monthly financials. That's tab 3 of
Before we move on,
providing a summary from the July financial. Yeah, July financial, please.
Accounts receivable, $996,987. Income was $49,850. Late fee was $61.54. Total expenses was $145,377. Over budget for the month by $86,341. Bringing our year-to-date figures $241,929 over budget. Outside services was $27,000 over due to collections and auditing. Pool was over $11,821 due to chemicals. Significant increase in pool salaries. And electric, and ground was over by $16,260 due to a significant increase in ground salaries. For the season.
Okay, questions for Dan?
the over salary, was this because of the new hire or raise?
This is, if I may, then.
Go ahead.
Okay, it's just, there is some overage there, but we're apportioned throughout the year for the whole thing. Our budget is for 12 months, so this is only year to date. It's gonna come down a little bit. In October, obviously, we don't have any pool staff, so that's gonna drop down in as much staff. So it'll level out as we go forward.
So do we have, because we're over budget by like 30%. Are we gonna be able to make it for the end of the year?
Let's just say, I don't know what you're saying. If you look at our budget, what Dan is reporting as the monthly figures, but we look at the year end. So he's saying it looks like it's up, but we pay all months. We pay out like our health insurance at HSA in June, so it will look higher that month because we're paying those bills during, it's not, he's reporting it as it's over, but
You're still over a lot, 241,000.
that, but your line item that you're thinking about.
The line items are for this specific. Not quite.
Correct, not your, so still within relative laws to that. So what you're saying, are we gonna make it? That question is kind of, it's moot because we're not that in these. categories. If you look at, if you pull out our whole budget that we passed in November, these are very similar numbers. Should-
Plus it'd be like a smaller scale budget, so like the events budget, like. We spend heavy in the summer season, right? So it looks like we are spendthrifts during July and August, but that's when the bulk of our monies are going out for events. We're gonna finish the events, but we will finish events under budget because our spending
Well,
jumps down.
That's. To Alana's point, that's not true because we're at 1,023,000. I don't have our total budget in front of me. I don't have that paper with me, but I believe it's like 1.1 change, so. No, we're not gonna get that.
I was actually speaking to the, yep.
Yeah, she was saying, are we gonna get back? She was saying,
I think as we move on, get some.
Okay. Any other questions for Dan on the July financial update? If none, can I get a motion to approve the financials for posting?
I motion.
All those in favor? Aye.
I abstain.
Any, well, hang on, any recusals? Any abstentions? Leslie, say you're abstaining?
Ilana, you're second, right? Yeah.
Did I miss any opposed, any recusals, any abstentions? Leslie abstains. All right, with that, the motion passes.
Can I ask a question? Last month, there was an email supposed to be for the financial.
regarding
Did that-
$18,000
Did that get
change.
approved? Did the financial from last month get approved and I never got?
Right. Where did we leave off? They were approved subject to,
Michael said it due to an expense on the credit card.
all right, so that resolved your question, right? So then they are, that was the only condition for this. That's been met, so they're fine.
Okay.
Okay, before we
What
turn,
did you say about that question? Because I don't remember getting any emails explaining that 18,000.
Michael responded, I don't know if it was,
It's just our credit cards. It was our credit cards that were statements that were affecting it. We had gotten 2 months in, and the dates, our credit card statements don't run the first month. So after we were getting the credit cards, the statements entered, it would change the last month's ending, budget.
I don't know, Michael sent that to the entire group, it was just.
Yeah, I didn't get it.
no, and looking at it, you were on it, Leslie, so
Oh, yeah?
July 23rd, 2024. That was the group.
I'll go back.
Okay, with those approved, before we turn to member questions. Our next regular meeting will be Sunday, September 15th, at 9 AM. With that, why don't we get into, open it up for, what?
I did one thing.
Oh, yeah, good point.
Sorry.
It was going, you guys.
You can explain.
Oh, somebody claim the floor.
So we do have cameras, over on the golf course. There is 3 cameras installed in the golf course. There's 2 cameras in the compost
Excuse me,
area.
Greenway.
I'm sorry, the greenways. And they've been working out very well. Anthony has already called the sheriff's department, I believe on 2 occasions regarding, and he has spoken to, I believe, 2 groups of people about it, so they are.
Good job. Great job, Ed.
Good job.
For any hunters, lots of deer, lots of bear, foxes. So if you need pointers on where you're going to do any of that, just.
Yeah.
Stay the hell off that property. Right on. All right. Great job, guys. Thank you for that. So let's open it up
I
for,
have one thing to say.
oh, yeah,
I just-
show it.
Just got a text message that one of our residents caught a 9-pound, 0.875 catfish out of Treasure Lake. I got a picture and a scale. Anybody wants to see it? So. it's
Wow.
pretty good. Yeah,
It's not a car.
no, it's catfish.
All right, that's great. All right, we're gonna open it up for member questions. We'll do folks in the room who will recognize each other. Just come a little closer to the owl if you don't mind, so we can make sure that everybody gets heard.
Thank you. My name is Gary Altman.
Gary.
First I want to say the staff's great, and at the pool, I think this year, the staff has been, including the day of that incident, we were at the pool. I'm just gonna reiterate something that Michael said. Parent, grandparent, you have to watch your kids every second, especially near water. You can't turn away for a second and lose sight. But the response from staff, and just being that moment, but really, I know we have 4 kids who came here. My youngest came here. We moved here when my youngest was 5 days old. She was a month early. We didn't have to rush back to the city. We came up 5 days old. She was at the pool. And that was 32 years ago. So great thing. With the pool, that's one big issue. But the other issue is, and I have even grandchildren, I put in the big pool. We had 2 incidents this year where the pool had to be cleaned out. It may not have been infants. It may have been kids.
They were adults.
They were adults. It's funny, down in Florida, you're saying no one would die and we were having full time. That's a
Maybe you get that wording for.
that's the whole thing. Of an over 55 community, but the sign, years ago I spoke with Michael, and the sign does say, no one who is not toilet trained or needs to wear diapers, which is correct. But there are infants, the 1-year-old, clearly 1-year-old grandson. And what the parents are doing is even worse, they're taking the diaper off, saying, look, no diaper, and then staff is walking away. And there's no control. Some places say 3, it's hard to tell who's 2 and who's 3, but there is that issue with, and it's every weekend.
All right, we'll have the staff address
You know what I mean? It can't just take someone to
it. Yeah.
word for it. No one's my granddaughter told trained young, but no one's told trained.
Right.
But my main issue, and I have actually talked to Nash about it, others is the gate to the beach, that it's still locked. To get onto the beach, you have to have a pass to get onto the beach, so you're already securely in. But to take your grandchildren, and even grandparents who are getting older, and instead of walking down those 4 steps and you're at the playground, 200 feet or the beach, you now have to go out all the way around to the parking lot. The parking lot cars are always backing up. And some people come into that lot because there's no longer the entrance. We don't have the gate there. Cars sometimes come in a little fast. But why isn't that open? Because we're the premier community and we have a lot there. Then we have great staff. Maybe even the solution could be, certain weekends, 1 to 5, put one of the staff over there, or just get it open. You can't get onto the beach without.
Yeah, it's been a security recommendation and issue in the past, but Michael, I don't know if you have any further thoughts on whether there's an opportunity.
I think we also spoke about there's a problem going from the beach to the pool. There's no way to clean your feet when you do that. You bring the sand
But
into
it's
the
bigger.
pool. Well, that's what we talked about doing for next year. So we put like some sort of water there and you'd be able to wash
Big
it.
sign, a big sign.
It's a tragedy, God forbid, waiting to happen. When you have, I think parents with 6 grandkids and, 2 are running ahead and the holding and something, but let alone, it's right in front of you. You gotta go into the building, all around. So
Oh,
I
there's no
go
point
back.
even having the gate there.
I know the year's over and there was one after this year. So very, very, may have been,
4th of July.
what?
4th of July weekend.
I can't, so.
4th of July.
4th of July, okay, or a weekday, but otherwise, the staff's really, we've been exceptional.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
We'll continue to address it with management and see if there's solved for that. Okay.
Right, there's a lot of staff at the pool and someone could be sitting even at the gate for certain times, I think, just to accommodate,
Okay.
the kid.
We can try to further consider it, right?
Mhm.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you, Gary.
Pool committee's got it.
Uh,
I do.
hold on a minute. I'm gonna alternate, online next, and then we'll come back to in the room. So, Marcy, you popped in early with your hand up. I'll recognize you first.
Thank you. So a couple points. One, I didn't notice, maybe there is a way during the online vote for board candidates, is there a way to vote for, let's say, 2 out of the 3? Because we couldn't submit until we made 3 votes. Is there a way to not vote for all candidates?
Based on these numbers, I'm not sure why that happened to you, but based on these numbers, some folks had the ability to vote, to not vote, just all straight 3 or none.
I saw that when you posted it. We tried to submit and it wouldn't go. So that's one question. Another point is, I've brought this up to Alana in the past, but we've never actually connected and had a conversation. I, through my equine assisted services work and work as an advocate for children, had to be CPR first aid certified annually. The Monticello Fire Department did a wonderful job providing that. And I know Michael and maybe others are associated with the Rock Hill Fire Department. So I'm wondering if it could be offered certainly to staff, but then open it up maybe through the, the events committee as an option for homeowners. And if we pay a donation to the fire department, that would be, well, win-win, I think, for everyone. But I think it would be a great thing to consider and to look into, that, they could train us, or, anyone else who's qualified to train us.
Yeah.
Do you recall we spoke about this? But we had,
Love this.
oh, sorry.
Talk this way, not that way. I know it's confusing, but
Marcy, we had spoke about this. I don't know if you recall the conversation, but Chris and I had looked into this for the training of our own staff
Yeah.
that we were paying out through events committee, and realized it was even cost, there was a significant cost for our own staff. And that's why we didn't open it up to the larger committee when you brought this up.
So maybe we could speak with, I have the name of the guy. I don't know if he's still there, but find somebody else who might do it for a more moderate cost. So we can.
As with anything with the events committee, you can, if you have a connection of somebody who's willing to provide this.
Yeah.
And we have an events committee that can, send out that information, and if you wanna, why don't you volunteer with the event, work with the events committee to volunteer to set this up through your contact.
Okay.
The events committee can get that information out, and you can lead that whole thing, okay?
Yeah, sure. I will look into it, and I can also contact the ambulance corps and see if I can find someone. I have a couple more things that I
Hang
just
on.
want to mention.
Marcy, we do have, we will be doing that with the community. Unfortunately, the person we had to do it in the spring, got, really sick and ended up in the hospital, so he was not able to take care of it. Hopefully, next summer we can get something done. Brittany's been looking into an alternative, so, it is in the works.
So should I not look? Should I, just,
Not look, you should not look. We
Okay.
got that taken care of.
excellent. All right. That saves me a lot of work. So thank you for that. I want to also bring up that there was I don't think he was actually scary, but a scary looking pit bull type dog on the beach yesterday. And I called the office and I waited around. I was in a kayak. I went to speak with the guard. He said, oh yeah, he has permission as long as he stays off the beach, which he didn't. He was pretty much well onto the beach. And, I don't understand why that's allowed. And if anyone else brought a dog, like a Chihuahua or a poodle, I don't think it would have gone well. And what if 5 people wanted to bring their dogs and stay on that little thing? I think if we have a rule, it should be an across the board rule. And I don't think that the guard or anyone else should say, oh yeah, he has permission, he can do that. The guy he was also on the dock. He was running around. The dog was digging, it was running on the beach. And it was on a leash, but I just think, we can't allow one person to do that. And if we have several dogs out there, I think we're asking for a disaster. So, I would encourage the board to have a firm stand on, what is okay and what is not okay, and not to make these, irregular exceptions. The other thing, yeah.
May I address that for you?
Yes, please.
That was Friday, not yesterday.
That was Friday, you're right.
And it was taken care of right away. Did you ask to see the dog's ID?
Did I?
Yeah, because the dog is the service dog. And he has a little picture of, we registered the service dogs with the office. That's why he's allowed to be there. He's a service dog.
He wasn't acting like a service dog, I will just say that, but okay, I hear you. I have a service dog too, by the way, but that's another point. So I wondered if the board has taken a position on the proposed 60 high-density townhouse units on Treasure Lake.
Yes, and our position is that we continue to look at the project and understand whether we are going to need to engage any professionals to help us better understand and advocate a position on it. But because the town planning board sent the developer back to the drawing board, if you will, under a segmentation theory to do a full secret review, there's not much to update at the moment.
Okay, and I would just add, and certainly we can get copies to the board if the board would like. Hudsonia did come and do a visit on Treasure Lake and found some very unique and very endangered species of plants. So if that might be helpful, I can try to get the report for you.
All right, we can connect offline with that. All right.
Okay.
Anything else, Marcy?
No, thank you.
Great, thanks. Come back to the room. Jose?
I was hoping to get that off the map. I don't know where it was.
Hold on. Where would you like me to go on this map?
Wait, is that- hey,
I agree.
You got it. You're gonna have to share this one. And this isn't set up.
It'll make it easier for everyone, so just, while I do that, yesterday, spent the day, I did about 2 hours. That's the reason why I wanted it up, great to hear that the cameras are up, so great job on that, guys.
Well,
Okay, stand out of the way now.
Oh,
why don't we do this while, I just want to make quick use of our time. Yeah, let me take, yeah, online. Let me go to Mark Becker online. If you can unmute while we get the maps up and then Jose can make his point. Mark?
Good morning, gentlemen. I would just like to add something to the paper lot issue for your consideration. I think that people who own paper lots should not be able to run for the board. I think that that's a huge can of worms that would cause problems that you should consider. I don't know if that's in the bylaws yet or not. So I'm just putting it up. I don't think paper lot people who don't own homes should be able to run for the board.
If you're a lot,
Could you say that a little louder?
there are a lot, you cannot run. No,
Oh, this is in the bylaw. Lot owner members and undeveloped lot owner members are not eligible to serve on the board of directors unless they pay the full dues as provided.
So now with the new rule that they can pay these full dues that are provided, or the 15,000 that was proposed, I just want to make sure that that rule is enforced, that they still cannot run for the board.
Yeah, no, that's not, the rule is that they can run for the board if they pay as a full dues member.
I
So-
think that that's going to open up a huge can of worms in the future. Consider what I'm saying.
Okay,
We'll have to change that in the bylaw.
it would have to be a bylaw change.
We'll look
Okay,
at-
Mark, anything else? Mark? Okay,
Yes, yes,
yeah, do you have anything else?
that's it. I'm done. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you. And thanks to the ladies too. So, any others online? Seeing none, anybody else in the room? Yeah, Gary? one more?
Wasn't gonna bring up the sticky issue of dogs, but since Marcy brought it up, You know, your co-op, the city might allow dogs, we don't, like, 1,700 unit co-op, we don't allow dogs, but, you know, you can't walk in the streets of New York City without dog. It's all over, you know, it's terrible. And as soon as they're caught, people all say it's a emotional support dog or whatever. For $99, you get a call into a therapist who then writes a letter that says, Shirley would do benefits from a dog. For $120.
We do follow.
Yeah, no thing, but for another 20, you get either a back collar or a, you know. So, you know what I mean, you get the package, whatever you wanna buy. But those were support dogs. There's been a dog that's been coming to the pool. 3 weeks ago, the first time she came, she was about to walk into the pool, the kiddie pool, with the dog. Staff ran over and said, you can't go that far. A true service dog, I'm not talking, true service dog will never respond to another human being other than their master or mistress, okay? There's a blind man in my building, I happened to be on the bus the other day. And he came on the bus, and the dog sits there, the big dog sits there, will not move, listen to his master. So this woman bringing the dog to the pool, I don't care what she has. A service dog cannot respond to another human, it's for someone who's deaf, who's blind. You know, I was once at Palm Beach Airport and a woman had a dog and the collar said stress dog. There was a Palm Beach lady and she had 2 teenagers. It's sort of like, well, 2 teenagers, a stress dog, but we are allowing in, I don't know the rules different, Michael, you know, up here than in the city, but the High Line in New York, now if you live up here, you know, High Line is the old industrial railroad tracks on the west side, they made it into a park, right? But we're in Emerald Green, we have endless beautiful things. They have a sign there, they don't allow anything but a true service dog, because the dog is up there urinating onto their plants and killing their gardens. So please, service dog will not respond to another human, it's trained not to. These dogs are not trained at all, this woman's dog was running all around.
We're not, I hear you, we only allow
And
service.
it's a tricky issue.
It's a tricky issue, we only allow service dogs. Owners have to be responsible, or members have to be responsible for their dogs when they're in common facilities. As you said, the staff intervened in that one instance you saw, hopefully staff will intervene in all instances if there's any abuse of it. We'll do our best to regulate it. I'm sure it's not a perfect system, and of course, when it comes to designating support versus and emotional support or whatever they're called, you know, there's gonna be some abuse of the system, but we'll do our best to make sure that it's true service dogs and that the members follow the rules.
But once again, that dog is running around and jumping on people,
And then it's,
not, she might have.
That she had the certificate, it wasn't addressed with her, she told her if she didn't keep her service dog curbed and under control, she was gonna have to move out, the pool.
yeah, we're not,
Security
we're not-
address.
yeah, and we're not. Well, yeah.
Oh, the last thing I'll say, the first time she was there, you know, the dog urinated on the floor.
Yeah, we got, the board didn't,
That member was.
the staff.
Yeah, no.
Okay,
Then all the noodles, yeah.
yeah, thanks, Gary. Jose, are you ready?
I'm ready.
I'm ready to- I'm ready.
1,000.
You're gonna have to speak loud because the owl is down here.
I can get down to a little bit. So we try to get a little bit.
Good?
Yeah, I think that's pretty good. Yeah, pretty good. So, guys, yesterday, like I said, I spent about 4 hours out there, you know, hiked the whole thing, cut through from my property. What I did notice was Chris brought, I think last month, right, about garbage over, once you come over past Lake Shore Drive, along this line here, I got pictures of it. I sent it, Patrick, to you, to your email, and Chris, to your email. And Brittany, I sent it to you too. You'll see there's garbage in here, we gotta hit some areas here. Somewhere in this area cuts across with the Widowmaker, we have to take it down. It's a pretty big tree and it's leaning on a branch only, and it's ready to go. So if you do have, hikers now starting to walk the area and everything, got something there. So that's the only area that I saw something that was dangerous on the property altogether. And I went practically through the whole thing, but this was interesting, because it's a coincidence that you guys are talking about paper lots. Because I was gonna bring this up to everyone's attention today. I'm assuming these are paper lots here that belong to us. Guy, there's more ATV trails in these two areas than all of this here. I mean, that's all that was. And I found signs posted on the trees in these areas stating no ATVs during snowstorm, during snow. Basically, it's like if it belongs to them, whatever they're doing. So,
That's
as a matter of fact, right here, right here, I think this is the first home in the 20 here, that's the only home in that corner. Right before, Osaka, gets, paved again.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Michael, but we don't own, EGPOA does not own these.
You don't know, that's what I wanted, that's, I'm just bringing it up, that these are paper lots, correct? By individuals, they're owned by individuals. So there's nothing, I'm just bringing it up because I heard about paper lots today and I wasn't aware of anything there. We can't do anything there, fine. So over here somewhere is where it looks like they're crossing in also from, because if you continue hiking, obviously you could get to the Wolf Lake, you could do the whole setup. So there's a little spot here, that's a perfect opening. And I thought maybe that's a simple area, just putting some boulders right in the place, that's all it is. That's all you need there. But then obviously coming across across the road, onto our property.
It's all power lines. They have that.
Yeah, there's power, correct, there's power lines there, and most,
You can't restrict access.
yeah, but, you can block that off coming onto
Well,
our.
how's the phone company gonna get in through there to their trunk line in the back?
Oh, on our side. Because there's a property, that's ours. There's a hole in here,
Let's take the
and there's
specific,
no phone, there's no, electric line there.
let's take the specific.
Only on the right, side we can,
That's what I said, so then I agree with that, yeah.
So specific pieces like that, let's take that back to the committee level and we can sort of.
Yeah.
With those.
Yeah, so, I just wanted to bring that up because the garbage is a big thing that, Chris brought and I, like I said, I sent the pictures in, it's pretty bad over there, and then that one room, it was one thing that looked pretty bad, and I sent a picture in for that, and somewhere in this area over here. Besides that, I think that once everything is blocked off, like we spoke about and agreed, then we'll be ready to eventually get the committee going and move forward with that. So. Okay. Any questions or anything there?
Brittany, do any of the cameras so that,
Oh, that was, yes, we have the camera.
Don't worry.
Got it. But it was only 5, it's 3 out of the box, 6, it's 6.
There's 5 total, but there's 3 over on the golf course and there's.
Okay, got it, okay, good. Oh, you guys will see me then walking around there.
Oh, and there's other people walking around too, not just.
Yeah, that's
Good.
so, yeah,
That's it. Anybody else in the room have questions, comments, anything to address? Yes, ma'am.
I have a question.
You've been beaten to the
Oh,
punch.
sorry.
Eileen Hurst, which I know, and I walk all the time. People, some way back, sometimes. I'm just so upset when I see so many of the properties are not being kept up. I mean, they're branches, just all sorts of things, so I think we really need to know the gentleman that did a lot of that. For the second part. Just the point of, we really need to clean up. Maybe that, maybe I have worked with
states.
different committees to organize it, that,
Yeah,
that's my.
I'm not sure if Michael can. I think now that we have our own staff out in the field, they have iPads that are with them. Michael, can you just give a 2-second update on like how that violation is working?
We've just, our staff has iPad more. It basically, we can, when they're riding around and see something, staff goes into your lot, your address, takes pictures of the violation, then either Brittany or myself authorize. And then a letter goes out. Just the same stuff that Chet did, but it's more automated now. It isn't, Chet used to take pictures on an inspection sheet, come back and write the letter. There's even a timeline now it follows the 15 days to cure, and then another letter goes out. Kind of follow.
Yeah, but, and hopefully that will start to translate into visible results for you.
I don't wanna make it sound like. This also, let me clarify too, we also just got this all set up within the last week, so it's not.
Yeah, so hopefully you'll start seeing some improvement.
And I just, Chet was, brought up also, and Chet did an excellent job at taking care of these things. And as many of you know, if he gave you a violation, you definitely knew about it. Chet hasn't been doing too good health-wise, and, I'd like to get a card for him and, the board sign the card and send it to him. He's been in and out of the hospital with quite a few health issues.
Yes.
So I think that would help cheer him up.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Jose, hang on one second. Yeah, ma'am over here.
Hi, my name is Lauren McGlinchey. I live on Lakeshore Drive West, and I wanted to make 2 points. One, my dad just came back from Florida. He's been gone for about 3 years. He built his house here in 1872, and he was sick after my mom died. And when he came back, he did a tour of Entertainia and the pool. And he got so emotional about how beautiful everything was, and how incredible the Entertainia and the clubhouse and everything looks. And he couldn't come today, but he just wanted me to convey just how he served on the board for many years. My mom served on the board for many years, and he's very invested in this community. And we bought after my mom died. Want to say thank you for just keeping this.
It's really great.
It's my staff, definitely miss Selma. Telling us what's wrong. I look how you turn.
Yeah. The other thing I just to say for me personally, so I depend on the pool. I swim laps every day that I'm here. I really appreciate, Joel, that you're requesting that they put in my name. That I would encourage the board, and I'm gonna get on the pool committee to keep the lanes in during the week. So the very large posted policy, number 8, is that lap swimmers have the right of way. That's completely impossible to enforce if there are ropes in, because kids, they don't notice, they shouldn't have to notice, but kids understand the ropes. And I grew up with this pool, I've never seen a kid not be able to do whatever they want with the ropes in place, they can just swim under it. And kids are super nice when you're swimming laps and you ask them to get out of the lane, they always do. So taking the lanes out and keeping one in on the weekends, completely understand. Keeping the lanes in during the week, I swim every day during the weekend, it's almost always empty, especially if it looks like this. Keeping them in during the week allows more lap swimmers who are there to swim. Or if it's super sunny and people start coming in, let the attendants have a little bit of discretion. So if a homeowner comes and there's not a lot of people in the pool, they can put the lane back in so more than one person can swim, because you don't have lines in the bottom. So that means that only one person can swim by lanes. We should have lines in the bottom so that people can share lanes. That's standard. But I would just encourage us not to remove lap swimming for homeowners who depend on that pool. It's a huge pool and there's plenty of room for kids, and they have their own kid pool and they have a playground. But there are lots of people that swim laps every day.
Let's see what happens. We'll be back full time, right? And we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up. I know Joel addressed that earlier on, and just say it's a work in progress, a little bit of a learning curve. We're trying to figure out how to balance the competing uses for that space, but I think you're raising a very fair point, and appreciate you doing so. So we're gonna address it and fix it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Donna Goldoff, online.
Thank you, for recognizing me. I want to just reinforce what Lori said. You know, the pool is fabulous. Unfortunately, one thing was overlooked was putting those lines at the bottom of the deep end where you have the ropes. Because if you have those black lines, even without the ropes, you can kind of steer yourself along. So we have to recognize that without the ropes, it's really hard for people to do lap swimming. And as Lori said, I have never had an incident where I said, excuse me, I'd like to swim here, where the kids were not totally cooperative about, moving over. Ironically, the other day I was, now I'm an old lady, I've been doing the resistance pool a lot. The ropes were off, and all these not small kids were just splashing around in the resistance area. So it's not really a problem, I believe, with the ropes. And kids can enjoy it if people aren't lap swimming. So I just wanted to add that. Thank you.
Thanks, Donna, and I'll ask Michael if in the off season we can address the lines in the bottom of the pool. I don't know if that's simple.
But there's also tile, pretty sure the tiles, there's a line of tile.
Okay, well, we'll look at it, see if it's a solve, we can easily do it. Thanks, Donna.
Thank you.
Anybody else in the room? Jose?
The next 2 weeks, right before Labor Day weekend, I was hoping we could, you guys could put some, email out again to the community. In ATVs back there, the last one was in June. So again, remember that was part of educating the community. So we have, some time this week and next week to put, one out and include snowmobiles. Because it doesn't state anything. I mean, it does say gas powered, but I would just be very specific with the snowmobiles. Since we're coming into the winter as well.
Okay.
So something, I'm hoping you guys could put out 2 more, right before September 2nd, because that's usually when we get a big hit. Every year, it was always right before Labor Day weekend, and it's usually outside, people come in to visit family. Thanks.
Thanks. Okay, all right, any other questions, comments? Seeing none, thanking everybody for coming to our annual meeting and regular meeting today. Board members, hang on, we do have a short executive session, but everybody else, thank you very much. And we'll ask for folks online, unless you're a board member, to please log off. We'll stop the recording. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah.